Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. I am so happy you're here. We're gonna do another reading vlog. I still have a few books left on my June TBR. It's June 19th, so I have a little over 10 days left, and I have about 4 books left on my TBR. I think I can manage to finish all of them, but we're gonna see. I already started the first book this morning. I started reading The Long Game by Elena Amars. This is the author of The Spanish Love Deception, and I didn't enjoy that one at all. But it's been a while since I've read it, and the concept of this book is completely different, so I thought I'd just give it a try. This is about Adeline, who's been working for her dad's football team for a few years now. I think she does something in PR or something like that. But when an embarrassing video of her goes viral, her dad decides to send her to this small town to teach the local soccer team. And she's this really spoiled and rich and seemingly cold woman, so she doesn't have the best first impression of the place she's gonna stay at, but she's also really stubborn, so she wants to prove to herself that she's able to push through and stay. And the soccer team she has to coach turns out to be a group of 10-year-old girls. And the first person she meets in this town is Cameron, who was a goalkeeper, so she knows of him, but she didn't know him personally before. But they don't get off on the right foot, and they end up having to coach the soccer team together. So it's like an hate to love trope. A small town, also forced proximity, and I've been honestly having a good time reading this. I'm only 10% through. I'm on page 40, but it's actually pretty cute so far. So I'm optimistic that I'm gonna like this a lot more than The Spanish Love Deception. It is Thursday right now. We have a public holiday in Germany today, and I also took a day off work tomorrow. And other than some plans with my boyfriend and my heels class on Saturday, I don't have any plans for the whole weekend, so hopefully I'll be able to read a lot. And since I've been reading a lot of fantasy, I wanted to pick up a romance book next to just clear my mind and read something different. Good morning. I got quite far into The Long Game last night. I'm now on page 197, so I'm halfway through, and I'm really enjoying this. The town, or like the town dynamics, kind of remind me of Gilmore Girls or Stars Hollow. And there's this one character, her name's Josie, and she reminds me of Kirk so much. She has like a million jobs. She's the mayor, she owns a cafe and a brewery, but she also teaches different classes like yoga classes and pottery classes. Like she does everything. So she reminds me of Kirk a lot. So if you like that part of Gilmore Girls, like the town dynamics, I can definitely recommend picking up this book. And I also really like the characters. I don't remember a lot about The Spanish Love Deception, but I think I just got really annoyed. But that's definitely not the case with this book. It is like 9:30 a.m. I think. I don't have my phone with me, but I'm about to leave to get some groceries. And then I have to clean up my apartment and do the laundry. And then my boyfriend and I are gonna go drive to our local mall because I have some things to return. And then we're gonna take the train to drive to Frankfurt and go for like a walk there. I hope it's not gonna get too hot today. Honestly, summer gives me so much anxiety. I get like really anxious when it's hot outside. I don't know if that's because I get dizzy really easily, but I just don't like the heat. And I don't like to go outside when it's hot. So hopefully it's gonna stay kind of okay today. But I am really excited for today. Sunday morning. I think I haven't talked to you guys in like 2 days, but I was out all day on Friday, and then yesterday I had my dance class, and before that I spent pretty much all day on my balcony reading, and I did end up finishing The Long Game. I did want to start a new book after my dance class yesterday, but I was so tired. I fell asleep at like 10 p.m. So I didn't end up reading anything, but I'm gonna rate this 4 stars. In the first, I would say like 70%, I was actually thinking about rating it 5 stars, but the 2 things that bothered me towards the end were, first of all, the smut. It wasn't too bad, but I still didn't like reading it. And once they got together, 70% off the plot was just smut, and it's fine when there's like 1 or 2 scenes, but I got the feeling that the author just forgot about everything else, and the relationship only consisted of that once they got together, so that was a little annoying. And then there was also a third act breakup, and I hate them. I hate them so much. This one was resolved pretty quickly, but it was still so unnecessary, so that's why it's not a 5 star. But I still really enjoyed this, and I'm glad I gave this author another chance. I'm probably gonna pick up more books by her. And I'm still in a romance mood, so I think I'm gonna start Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. I've read Out on a Limb, which is the first part in this series, or like a companion novel, a few weeks ago, and I loved it so much. It was a 5 star read for me, and we already know the characters from this book from the first book. This is about Sarah and Caleb, who are high school sweethearts, and they've just always been a thing, but Sarah starts to wonder who she is on her own without Caleb. So they now want to figure out who they are as individuals, and to try to save their relationship, they decide to go on this hiking trip in the woods, which is supposed to help struggling couples. I really liked them in the first part, so I'm really excited to see more of them. And I've heard only good things about this book, so I think I'm gonna go outside again. It's gonna be really hot today. I think it's gonna be like 34 degrees Celsius. So I want to use the time before the sun's gonna shine on my balcony to go outside, because as you can tell, I'm really white, so I can't be in the sun. It's pretty late already, but I spent the afternoon with my boyfriend. We played some Switch and ordered food, and I'm gonna get ready for bed now. But I did get a lot of reading in this morning. I read to page 114, so I'm a third of the way through and I'm really enjoying it. Even though they are in like a relationship crisis right now, they are still so respectful to each other. Caleb's love language is definitely acts of services and it's so cute. I think Hannah Bonham Young also has 2 other books, I think. I definitely have to get them soon because I love her writing style. It's so easy and fun to read. And I also had that with Out on a Limb. I got so connected to the characters, also with this one. And since they've been together for I think like 17 years or something like that, we switch back and forth from the present day and the past of how they got together and their first years together. And it makes all of this so much more emotional to see everything they experienced together. So I'm really loving this. I'm not sure if I'm gonna read a lot more tonight because I am gonna go to bed now and I really don't like reading physical books in bed. So I may read something else on my Kindle. I also still have 2 other books in my June TBR. I think we're gonna check if they're available on Kindle Unlimited or Libby. I'm pretty sure that The Hurricane Wars is available on Libby, so I could read that on my Kindle. But I also still have Family Wild's Encyclopedia of Fairies on my TBR, so I'm also gonna check if this one is available. Out of the Woods a couple of hours ago, and this book has my whole heart. As you may have seen in the clips of me reading, I felt every emotion. I cried, I laughed, especially in the last 20%. So much emotional stuff happened. In general, this book is really emotional. It's not a fluffy romance. It was still funny, but the struggles were definitely more important in this book. I'm so connected to these characters and also the characters from Out on a Limb. I immediately have to get Hannah Bonham Young's other 2 books. Her writing style is so perfect. She could be one of my new favorite authors. And what I also really liked is that I didn't get like secondhand embarrassment while reading the smut scenes. They weren't really cringy and I felt fine reading them. I didn't have that with The Long Game and a lot of other books lately, so that made me really happy. I also highlighted so much of this book. Like, Hannah is really such an amazing author. I can't comprehend how she comes up with those lines. Even though, of course, it was about Caleb and Sarah struggling within their marriage, they still treated each other so respectfully. And you could really see that they do really love each other and would do anything for each other. And that was so heartwarming to see. I did take a little break. I've cleaned up my apartment and just did nothing for like 2 hours. It's Monday night, so I technically do have my jazz class, but I have another migraine. It's not too bad, but I know if I would work out right now, I would feel worse after, so I'm not going tonight. I'm thinking about starting Emily Wilde. It's not too hot outside today, so I may go sit outside for a while. Maybe the fresh air will help my migraine. I've started this book like 3 times and I was never in the mood to read it, so hopefully today's gonna be the day. But to be fair, I never really gave it a real chance. I only read a couple of pages and then stopped reading. So we're gonna see. I don't really know what this is about, so I'm gonna talk about it later. I also started reading The Hurricane Wars on my Kindle last night, but I only got 10 pages in, so I don't really have anything to tell you yet. finished reading Emily White's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This was about Emily, who's a professor and she studies fairies, and the story is told through Emily's journal entries, so that was really interesting. So we learn everything about her notes and thoughts and all of that. And for her studies she travels to this cold and remote village to research a specific type of magical creature that she can't find anywhere else. But while she's there, strange things start happening, and then one day her colleague Bumblebee unexpectedly shows up and they start working together, and I'm gonna rate this 3 stars. I really liked the world building. It was so interesting to be in this world with those fairies, and it was also really cozy and atmospheric. And also, like, the main character, she's like, Emily's like really socially awkward and she was really cute. But honestly, this book was really boring. There wasn't a lot happening, or the things that happened I didn't really care for. It was all in all just really boring. And there was also a romance aspect, but it wasn't really believable. To me, it didn't make a lot of sense, so I didn't care for it at all, and the pacing was so slow. That's also a big part to why this book was boring to me. But if you do like to read books more for the atmosphere and the setting, more than not really the plot. I mean, there are a lot of people who don't care for an action-heavy plot, but I get bored really easily, so it's just not my type of book, I think, so I'm probably also not gonna continue this series. I also started reading The Hurricane Wars. I'm about 10% into this book, and honestly I can't really talk about what this is about yet because I don't know. 10% are like 40 something pages, and I'm just now starting to get into the story. I didn't understand anything at the beginning. Maybe that's just me, but I had no idea what was happening. We just were placed right into the story without any explanations, so I'm still kind of confused at this point. I'm about 70% into The Hurricane Wars. I've changed to listening to the audiobook because I've unfortunately not been enjoying this one that much. But this is about a world that has been at war for years, and the land is torn apart by magical storms. The female main character, Taliesin, has a sort of light magic, but her powers are like really rare and powerful. And the main character in this book is Alaric, who's the enemy prince, and he has shadow magic. When the two of them clash in a battle, they notice a strange connection because they're somehow linked together through their magic. And even though they start off by hating each other, they decide to work together to figure this whole thing out, and also to team up against the bigger threat. It's an enemies to lovers, and I'm just now getting to the point where they start to like each other. I'm not the biggest fan of the world building in this book. There is definitely a lot of world building, but it's more like info dumps. I think in other fantasy books you just learn about the world as you go, but here I didn't know anything about the world in the beginning and I was so confused by everything, and then you just get those random info dumps about what's happening and what people are important in this world and whatever. The world building is just kind of strange. The enemies to lovers trope is also pretty repetitive. They slowly start to understand each other and communicate with each other, and then suddenly something happens and they start over again, and that's been happening over and over again. So that's also been a little annoying. This book has so much potential, but I'm just not the biggest fan of the writing style, I fear. I'm probably gonna keep listening to the audiobook instead of reading it physically because I probably won't get myself to read it physically. It's not like I'm hating this book, it's just not the best fantasy I've ever read. I finished listening to The Hurricane Wars last night, and I'm gonna rate it 3 or 2.75 stars. The concept and the world in general of this is so cool and interesting, but I didn't enjoy the writing and the repetitiveness. I was just really annoyed, unfortunately, towards the end. I'm pretty sure that this is gonna be a series. I may continue it, but I honestly also don't really care. So we're gonna see. This has been on my TBR for a long time, so I'm glad that I've read it, but unfortunately it didn't live up to my expectations. But this is the last book I've wanted to read this month. So this is also the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!